Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are joining me from this morning or today. I see people from different time zones and some international people here. Thank you very much for taking the time of your busy schedule to join me in this informative webinar on software testing and QA certifications, facts and fictions. My name is Magdy Hanna. As you can tell from the title slide, that I am actually the chairman and CEO of the International Institute for Software Testing, which is an organization that's a leader in what we call education-based certifications. IICT has been certifying people since 1999. In fact, at the time when IICT started, there was probably only one organization out there that was issuing some sort of certifications. So we have certified people around the world. We have certified almost 90% of government and Air Force and Army and Navy. And that's because of the educational goals of the certifications. All right. Well, you can imagine it's going to be very hard for me to keep this presentation kind of unbiased or impartial, but I will be honest with you and give you my experience working in the field of QA and testing certifications long before 1999. I guess I worked closely with that one single organization that was giving certifications at the time, and I did not like the approach then. So that's why we decided to start IIST, and we decided to adopt what we called education-based certifications. Again, I will also try to be as careful as I can in terms of mentioning names of other certifications. Well, yeah, they're gonna be on my slides, so I cannot avoid that. But anyway, let me show you quick what I'm planning to cover today. First, we need to answer the question: why do we even need to be certified? Is our certification valuable? Would certification improve the way you do your job? Then I will share with you some facts, again, that I've known based on my years of experience. Keep in mind, I've been in the software industry since 1975. Many of you were not born yet at the time. And I started as a developer, but then in about the late 80s, I switched to software quality and testing. I worked in all positions from test analyst to test manager. My work as a professor at the graduate level in one of the universities allowed me to have time during the day to do lots of consulting with government and non-government organizations. So the opinion that I have formed over the years is not only based on my knowledge and experience with certifications, but also with my experience in the field of software engineering and testing and the QA. So I'll give you those facts, then I'll discuss with you what education-based certifications are as opposed to what we call exam-based certifications. Then we're going to spend some time to how to evaluate certifications. If you decide to be certified, then what you would look for. then, of course, at the end of the webinar, I will discuss with you the IIST certifications because I cannot avoid that. It's one of 3 organizations that offer certifications, and I will talk about the cost of achieving and maintaining IIST certifications. If you have anything else in mind you'd like me to talk about, please go ahead and share it with me on the questions tab. You click on questions and let me know. All right. So let's try to answer the question. Why should software professionals get certified, or should they even be certified? I want you to take a minute here and use the questions tab and share with me your own reasons to want to be certified, or if you have already been certified by one of the organizations, why did you decide to be certified? I'll give you a couple of minutes for that. Please provide your feedback through the questions tab. I want to share your point of view with others without mentioning your name, of course. All right. Not getting much of feedback yet. As I said again, I want to learn from you. Why would you think you want to be certified? What do you think the value of certifications are? Because as I wrote in the description of this webinar, one time, a very prominent guy in the software field said this: some certifications out there are not worth the paper it's written on. But that is his opinion. But that's why I want to get your opinion. Please go ahead, share with me, why do you think certifications are important? Why would you want to be certified? And it's bad if you don't have a reason to be certified. Of course, I'm starting to get some feedback here on the questions tab. The most common thread here is that I want to get a job with a good company. I want to get a job. I want to be able to apply for a job. Wow. So we're mostly being certified because certifications would give me a job. Someone is saying because it is necessary to prove it to people. I'm assuming to prove it to people so that they can give you the job. Someone else saying certification is proof that you know what you're doing. It provides external validation that you have the skills needed to succeed. The best answer I've seen so far is someone saying, I want to be able to go further in my current job. Well, if you mean promotions, you get promotion so that you can get a better job or better title or better role or responsibilities. Okay. All right. Right. I guess I'm going to stop at that, and I will share with you now my own point of view. And actually, it's not only my point of view, but also it's the point of view of the advisory board of the International Institute for Software Testing, because back then in 1999, when I started the institute, I put together an advisory board from people who have been in software testing and QA for years, and many of them are still with us, and you can see the names of those people on the website for IIST. And of course, before we even start an effort to put together a body of knowledge for certifications, we had to answer this same question. Are certifications important? Why certifications are important if they are? Okay, why would we want people to get certified? And here are some of the things that we discussed during those brainstorming sessions at the time to gain knowledge that will help you do your job better. So you'll see the common thread in all these is that it's improving yourself. It's not proving to someone else that you're good. It's mostly self-improvement, okay? To gain new skills that enable you to take on new roles and responsibilities, okay? This one here was a kind of vague, but to contribute in a positive way to the success of your project and organization. So of course, you can imagine you will not be able to contribute in a positive way to the success of your project unless you really have the skills to do that. I remember this fourth one being said by one of the members of the advisory board, because at the time, the image of QA and testing profession was not that good, and it's still not the greatest until that time. All right, so QA and testing has been known that, you know, if you do not know how to become a developer, then you become a QA. So let's face that. I have been in hundreds, maybe even thousands of organizations where I've seen QA and testing people being underpaid. Of course, always being paid much less than developers. In fact, I do remember one of the organizations when I went in there was a large company, and they asked me what to do to create a good relationship between development and testing people. And my question to them was immediately, how much do you pay each one of those people? How much do you pay testing versus developers? Of course, they said not the same. Very funny, because their answer said, well, developers are engineers, so they are paid as engineers, but testers are not. I said, that is almost ridiculous. Have developers graduated from an engineering school? We understand that. We understand that there are some programs that gives a degree in what's called software engineering. All right. I worked in one of these. In fact, I worked in a program that's a Master of Software Engineering, or actually a Master of Science in Software Engineering. But we all know that many states around there prohibited the use of the word engineering unless you have graduated from an actual engineering school. But it doesn't matter. So my response to the guys, I said, all right, why don't you call software test professionals as test engineers? What's the difference? If your developers have not graduated from an engineering school, and so your testers, so if you're going to use the word engineer, just call all of them engineers. Call all of them software engineers. And some of them are specialized in development. Some of them are specialized in QA and testing. All right. So I can't, I'm not going to be able to tell you how far this discussion went, but that's the point. So that's why at the time of the discussion, one of the advisory board said, one of the members of the advisory board said, we need to boost the credibility of the test profession. Now, boosting the credibility does not come with a piece of paper that you're going to carry or something you're going to put on your resume. Boosting the credibility and only comes when your knowledge increases and your skills increase. All right, that's very important here. Demonstrating professionalism in the job. Most importantly, in my opinion, to be able to interact intelligently with your project team. And you can only act intelligently if you know what you're talking about, if you feel confident about what you're talking about. And I put down here to pursue and earn new opportunities, whether these are based on the knowledge and the skills you have or on the piece of paper you obtained when you get certified. So basically, and I'm sure some of you already have these ideas there. Let me quick here look at questions. Okay, nothing new. So let me share with you some of the facts that I came to learn over the years. And you would all agree with those facts. I think you would all agree that the value of any kind of certification will always depend on how much it helps you to achieve your professional goals, whatever they are. Whatever they are. If your professional goal is to become a QA manager or test manager, then you need to pursue in test management, certification in test management. All right. So that's very important here. So you need to first decide on what your professional goals are, and you line up your certifications, your certification goals with that. Of course, we all learn on the job. And I've seen people, and I read people actually, last week there was a discussion on LinkedIn that I had to go in and just to give my opinion there, about some people talking about one of the certifications, the ISTQB certification, and there was a lot of negative opinions there, and people talking about that it's worthless, it's the exams are multiple choice, they don't measure anything, and many people had the opinion that experience on the job is valuable, and no one can argue that. Yes, of course, learning on the job is very important, because when you work in a certain environment, you learn what you're doing there and you become very good at it. But as I have seen in many places that I've been at, especially government organizations, people have been there for 15, 20 years, doing the same thing the same way every day. They're not learning any external way to do things differently. And when you get to that point, when you keep doing the same things you're doing the same way every day, you get stuck there. And it becomes very difficult to change your mind and to change your mindset. Some of the most difficult places I've been at are those, I'm going to have to admit, government and defense organizations, where they have been doing the same thing the same way every day. And I go there, I try to teach them something different. They're totally resistant to any new idea, and that becomes bad. So that's why you always must learn new practices. Find ways to learn new practices, whatever they are. Not just because your organization is doing agile, then you're going to learn about agile. Of course, that's important. So you're going to go and learn how to test and how to lead a test organization in an agile environment. That's important. But continuously learn new skills. That's in addition to learning on the job. You know that, you agree me, I'm sure you agree with me on that. Now, let me share with you, let me give you my opinion about education. I'm very frustrated that people think that we can advance the software tester profession without education. When I say education here, I mean actually taking courses and learning. I don't mean only certifications, because as you probably know, some of the certifications out there, you can get them by taking an exam. Taking an exam is not education. Even if you have to study for the exam, the reason I say that is because when you study for the exam, all your goal is to pass the exam. So you're focusing on what's in the exam. So education is very important to me. Remember, I've been educator a big part of my professional life. Okay, I have educated people all along, and as I said, I worked as a professor of software engineering in a graduate program, Master of Software Engineering, and this is a very reputable program. It's in University of St. Thomas in Minnesota. Amazing program in software engineering, um, and I strongly believe in education. And if we are going to advance uh, the tester profession, this can only happen through education and prove to the world that we also learn how to do things the right way. As I always said, as I always said, every profession on earth found a way for themselves to educate themselves to earn a sort of certification, not just to earn a certification, but educate themselves. I mean, if you bring an electrician to work in your house, yes, you want this electrician to have experience, but most importantly, you want to make sure that this electrician actually studied everything about the theories and the practices of electricity, and they know everything there. So I don't think anyone can argue about the value of education in advancing and creating a profession. You can always read books, and you should always read books. But you have at the end, of course, you start assessing how much you learned from this book. Okay, you grabbed a book about whatever, software testing techniques or software test management. How much did you learn there? Has the book really taught you how to solve a problem in this kind of field? Problem solving is an important thing. And I'm talking about problems of all kinds. And of course, you can imagine with my years of experience and my education, how many books I have read. And I did learn a lot, of course, by reading. But the only time I learned some new skill is when I sat down and listened to someone who have that skill and he taught it to me. You need to learn from others. You need to learn the skills that people have. You cannot easily learn the skills by reading a book. I'm not discouraging you from reading, although, again, in my experience, I found that many software tester professionals do not read. In fact, when I used to give webinars like these to the public in a public setting, and I used to get over 300-400 people there. And I typically ask it the question, when was the last time you read a book? And among 300-400 people, I probably got one hand up. Okay. And when I asked it, what kind of book did you read? It was a novel. It was not in the field of software testing. So I'm going to kind of confess to you, tell you that I'm disappointed that many of us do not read. Many of us do not read. I know we're busy, but reading important. So I'm not discouraging you from reading books, but I'm telling you that if you want to learn new skills, you learn them in a classroom setting or from someone who has that skill. Now, if you decide to get certified, some certifications will give you what they call prep course. And the prep course is the course that prepares you to pass the exam. And I don't think I need to prove this to you. Even people who are giving those prep courses will agree that the focus of the course is to pass the exam. Regardless, if the course is labeled as a prep course, especially if the people who are giving the course are bragging about how many people pass the exam after taking their course. And some of those people are also bragging about the fact that they have been on the board that writes those exams. You know what I'm getting at here? If I teach you a course to prepare you for a given certification, and I keep bragging about 99% of the people taking my course pass the exam. If I keep bragging about that I have been on the board or whoever that wrote these exams, and I even claim that I have some sample exams that I'm going to give you, this is very, very disappointing. So what are you going to get by taking one of those courses? I mean, as long as you know what you're getting, you are simply getting knowledge that will prepare you to pass the exam. Now, your next thing is to say, okay, is this knowledge important for my professional goals? Is it important to know things like definitions? Because many of these courses, or many of these exams, I should say, are definitions of things. I spent some time myself looking at some of those exams, the sample exams that are floating there on the internet. And I said, that's waste of time. Why do I care about knowing this stuff? Even if the prep course tells you that what's the difference between black box and the gray box and white box, whatever. Good. It's good to know that. But is this going to help you in practice? If the course is going to give you a high level discussion about a given test design technique, whatever it is, it's good to know that. It's good to know that there is something called the boundary value analysis. But unless you sit down and you're given a problem, a real requirement, and you practice on using that technique, I think it's useless. So you've got to be careful here. And of course, you would not know anything about what's going to happen in that course until you go and get it. And of course, as you know, many of those certifications also have just a book that you have to get and read. Then we go back to the fact about reading books is important, but it does not give you the skills. So I'm focusing on learning new skills here. The bottom line to me is this: passing an exam by itself does not improve your skills at all. It does not. Passing an exam will give you a piece of paper that you passed the exam. It will prove to others that you know enough to pass the exam. But you did not learn anything in the process of passing that exam. I know some of you out there might disagree with me, and I'm trying to get you to disagree. And I'm trying to get you to share with me your opinion on the questions tab. I want to hear someone saying, no, I I prepared for the exam. I passed the exam. By the time I passed the exam, I have learned so many skills that I did not know before. And I am ready to go, and I was ready to go and use those skills in a project. All right. Let me peek to the questions tab to see if anyone has a different opinion. No. I hate to believe that you agree with me in everything I said. I'd like to see that you're disagreeing with me. Keep in mind what I'm telling you honestly, up to now, it's just all based on my experience. It has nothing to do with the fact that I am the chairman and the CEO of IIST that focuses on education. All right. Now we're done with some of the facts I wanted to share with you. Now let me share with you, something that we all know. There are two main approaches to certifications, and especially actually in other certifications that's not quality software quality and testing. It's only one type of certification, which is one of those. So anyway, here are the two types. Exam based. Those are the most common type of certifications out there. It's based on self-study, so you can get a book or two and read, or you can actually, to my knowledge, one of those certifications has what they refer to as the body of knowledge, which is, if I remember correctly, it's about 60, 70 pages. Maybe it's 100 pages. Maybe it's 150 pages. Who knows? But it's shame, in my opinion, to put 150 pages or whatever and to call it the body of knowledge of the test profession. The whole body of knowledge is summarized in 100 or 150 pages. And all what you have to do is to go get that and read it. Again, as you know, I'm trying to be careful here. I know this fact. In fact, all these certifications has a document. They call it a body of knowledge. But I'm focusing on one of them that I heard about, that I heard on LinkedIn about that body of knowledge. I think it was, at this time, was 70 pages. Maybe now it's 80 pages. Maybe now it's 120 pages. Who knows? And on LinkedIn, a lot of things was said about the incorrectness, the confusion, that the problem with that, with the so-called body of knowledge. And I'm just frustrated that we think we can put the body of knowledge of a profession in 100 or 120 pages or 150 pages. Then you know what? Then I do not want to belong to that profession. I do not want to tell people out there that I am in a profession where the body of knowledge is 100 or 150 pages. What can you learn? What can you learn from a book that's even 300 pages or 400 pages? What can you learn to make you a professional in a given profession? This is the discussion that went on between some of the members of the advisory board. We were really disappointed to see that. I do not want to belong to a profession where the body of knowledge of that profession has been written in a couple hundred pages. That's not, other professions are not like that. I was talking actually 2 days yesterday to someone who is going to be a dentist, a dental assistant. Those are the ladies and the guys who meet you when you get to your dentist office and prepare your exam room. They do your X-ray. They do the simple things like polishing your teeth. And she was going to school for 8 months to do that. And she was saying that someone else told her she can get the same certification or degree or whatever from somewhere else. That's 4 weeks. And we sat down because she's actually a family member. We agreed 100% that there is no way. There is no way to cover that body of knowledge that's being covered in 8 months that you cover it in 4 weeks. So imagine now we are in a profession where the body of knowledge, the test profession, the quality, the QA profession, the body of knowledge is summarized in a book that is 100, 150, 200 pages. And all what you have to do is to read that book and take the exam and start fooling other people that you actually know what's going on. I'm sorry. That's why every day we get called. We get calls from people who have never been in software testing before. And they ask us how to get to this field. And we tell them at IIST, how do you get to this field? How much education they must get. And they right away they say, oh, I guess I'm going to go with the cheap approach. This book is available there for $100. I'm going to buy it, read it, and take the exam for another $300. And a lot of those people are out there. And in my years of experience, I heard a lot, many of the managers I worked with about those people, that they don't even know how to write one single test case. And this is not only about that specific body of knowledge that's summarized in 120 pages or whatever. This is about all exam-based certifications. You should. I'm sure you can look at LinkedIn and see what's happening there. Hiring managers are sick and tired of certifications that, as this wonderful guy said, are not worth the papers they're written on, assuming that the certification is on a paper, but now everything is electronic. I don't know how you can describe that. But yes, you do not want to have those certifications because, in fact, there is a bad reputation about certifications out there. By the way, a year ago, we discovered that there's such thing called International Test Institute. Hey, imagine what people are doing. I mean, they found that we have the International Institute for Software Testing. They established something called the International Test Institute. Of course, they're somewhere in Germany, I believe. But this is even more, what can I say? They're allowing you to go online immediately without even reading anything. Take an exam. Take the exam, you get certified. Of course, some of you might want to go there now to do that. So that's exam-based. That's my experience with exam-based certifications. Now, look back when you went to college. Would you think it makes any sense to go to the dean of the college you want to graduate from and you say, I really don't want to attend any classes. I don't want to take any courses. I know how to read. Can I just get the books, read them, and take the exams? And then I graduate. I get a degree in biology. I get a degree in engineering. I get a degree in whatever. Can I just go and read the books? Would you think that would happen? You think you can get a degree without learning, just by reading and taking exams? Interestingly enough, at the time I was teaching at this graduate programs in software engineering, my students in the classroom were not really college graduates who want to get a master's degree. No, in fact, the entry criteria in that program that you must have worked in software engineering and in projects for at least 2 years. So I get people who are already working in the field. And I taught courses in development methodologies. I taught courses in QA. I taught courses in tools, software tools. And I used to get those people who say, I've been a project manager for 10 years, for example. And I know all that stuff. That's what they say. I know all that stuff. So can I test out? Can I take the test? I always said no. I always said no. Because the school did not approve that, of course. There's no such thing called test out. If you're going to get a master's of software engineering, you better take the classes. Let me tell you, those are the exact people. When they took the course, they failed. They got a D and a C. Why? Because they thought they know everything. They did not take the course seriously. They did not want to even agree to anything in the course. And they thought, okay, fine, I'll pay the tuition, I'll attend the classes, but I am not going to study. So they went to the exams trying to answer questions based on what they think they know. And they failed. So reading, taking exams, in my opinion, is not a way to learn skills. All right. In college, everything is education based. In universities, everything is education based. And that is why I started IIST back in 1999. At the time, I was still working as a professor of software engineering. In fact, I took 2 years off from the university and I put together the advisory board. It's simply because I found what's happening there. At the time, I worked as a consultant, and I remember going to many places. I'm going to tell you very, very prestigious places. I've been at Air Force bases. I've been at Boeing. And in many organizations, I found out that, gee, the way testing is done is scary. I'm going to tell you this sometime. At the time, I got scared about the aircraft that I board when I travel. I said, now as I know how this aircraft was tested, I do not want to travel anymore. If I know the people who tested the aircraft spoke with me and saying that there is no way for them to consider all possible scenarios that can happen out there, I am scared to travel. I have learned so much going to organizations, doing consulting there, to the point that I said, of course, my first attempt was to do the certification as part of the university offerings. I could not, for all kinds of reasons, bureaucracy, whatever, I could not. So I decided to take 2 years off, put the advisory board together, and put together what we believed in to be education-based certifications. Because we believe that, as I said earlier, the only way you can learn from other people, the only way you learn is you learn from people who have the skills. I'm not talking about just the knowledge. I'm talking about experience and the skills. So Education-based certifications simply mean that you have to take courses in specific areas of a body of knowledge, and you have to take an exam in each one of those courses. Forget about multiple choice exams. Forget about those completely. And the advisory board of IIST was clear about that. Multiple choice exams do not measure how much he knows, let alone they do not measure skills. You cannot really say, I have the skill to do so and so and so by passing a multiple choice exam. You don't have the skills. You don't get skills by passing a multiple choice exams. That's why, again, when I was at the university, I've never given a multiple choice exam. In fact, I only gave two types of exams: open book exams and take home exams. Why? Because in those exams, you actually learn how to use a technique or a method or an approach to solve a problem. And when you pass this kind of exam, you actually know how to use this technique. You actually have the skill. Let me tell you this, the last bullet here, I'm not aware of any other organization that offers education-based certifications. Except, of course, if a certificate is part of a university program, which I'm not aware of any university that's giving a certificate in software testing. So let me see if I have any questions out there. Just going through the questions or see if there are questions or comments. Fred, could you elaborate a little bit on your comment? I want to share it, but I don't want to sound ignorant here. Not sure what you mean here. Okay. So based on what I said, how would you go about evaluating the certification program? I put together two slides here. Look at the body of knowledge that you're going to be learning as part of this certification. Does it line up with your professional goals that you hopefully have set them up first? Does it teach you if your professional goal, one of your professional goals is to become one day a test manager or a QA manager? Does this body of knowledge give you enough skills to make you a test manager? Not just the knowledge. How much will you learn in the process of getting certified? And whatever you learn is going to help you do a better job. For the moment, forget about the piece of paper that you're going to get. With the body of knowledge and the way it is taught to you, going to help you to do your job better. Most importantly, you got to understand how employers value certifications before you spend any money or any effort. Because as I said, there are bad reputation out there for certifications. If you're going to learn from someone, it makes a lot of sense to know how much this person knows. Not only how much he or she knows, but how many years he has been in the field. What does he do? What does he or she do on a daily basis? Let me tell you this. The reason I put this bullet is because I've seen many of those so-called prep courses being written by someone and given to 100 other people to teach. And please trust me in this one. I have seen one person that I know very well who worked as a manager in a grocery store, who has not done software testing 1 week or 1 day. And he was a lead instructor to deliver one of those prep courses. And potentially he became one of the editors to edit and modify the course. Someone who has never done software testing. You can just ask yourself, how much would you learn from someone like that? So that's why the experience of the instructor or the person you're going to learn from is critical. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and money. And not only that, you might be learning the wrong things. And you will discover it for yourself. Okay. I'm sorry, I had to focus on this a little bit because that's critical. Again, as I said, if you're going to take a prep course, then how practical, the word practical here is important. How practical the training is and how it relates to your current and the future job. Practical means, how does it teach you to do things? How do you learn by doing, not by reading? Okay. How much hands-on is there? I mean, this is obvious. Now, another thing that's important is that how much flexibility do you have? Someone says, well, you shouldn't have much flexibility. It's the program or whatever material you need to learn. So it's the book that's in 120 pages or 200 pages that you have to read. What flexibility are you looking for? Really? When you got your college degree, they told you you must take those courses? Or there were courses that are required, which is in the core of your major, and there are other courses that you selected on your own. Of course, if you cannot select the material you want to learn, I mean, part of it, yes, it has to be mandatory and you must learn. And those are the basic stuff, and you must learn in them. Other material, you have to have the control over that for reasons, because your project is important. Let's assume that you're learning a course in test design. So this course is in test design. But really, you are working on an agile project. Now, what you have to look at, has this course been written to help you how to design tests in an agile project? Or this is a classical course where material was copied from classical books that existed for 30 years? Flexibility is important. Flexibility important when it comes to things like test automation. I mean, test automation is a very broad field. You do not want to go and get certified in test automation and you're learning something that the certifying body wants you to learn. That does not make any sense, because you're going to learn that, then you go back to your project and your environment, you find that everything you learned is useless. It does not apply to what you're doing. And of course, will it help you advance your career? The most important one here I put for you. Will I be a better professional? Will I be able to do my job better by the time I get certified? If the answer to this question is no, or I don't know, then don't even go there. All right. Very quick here. I have about 5 minutes. I'll walk you quick through certifications from IST, which are the only education-based certifications. I put this in the last 5 minutes so that if you think that this is self-promoting, if you think that I'm trying to push IST certifications on you, you can leave now. You don't have to continue with me. I'm watching the numbers here, and I'm, if you want to leave the webinar at this point, you can. But here are the 12 different certifications from IIST. The starting point is here, certified software testing professional, associate level. Okay, the next one is the practitioner level, and the next one. When you see errors like that, that means they are sequence. So the final one here is the master level. There is another path here, which is the Agile certification, certified Agile software testing professionals. It has two levels. It has the practitioner level, it has the master level. The certified mobile software test professional is just one certification by itself. It does not have levels. It stands by itself. Okay, now here is the test management path. It starts with the certified software test lead, then the certified test manager practitioner level, and certified test manager master level. And down here is the test automation path. Starts with the certified software test automation specialist, and the next level is the certified software test automation architect. The final certification, the highest level of certification, is certified software quality manager, and this does not have any prerequisites. It does not have any levels. I'm sure the question now is, how much would it cost? Now, remember, when people ask us, what's the cost of certification? We say there is no cost of the certification. There is cost of the education you receive in order to receive the certification. I'm going to just put them here in front of you because we don't have time. So the numbers here are based on the fact that courses are online. Okay, we have not done public courses in a public setting for almost a year now, simply because of the COVID-19 situation. We also offer online interactive, but here are the number of courses and the prices. And all these courses are available online. All the exams are available online. Now, again, these are the prices for self-paced pre-recorded courses, not the interactive courses. The same courses are available also as online interactive, and you can look at the prices on our website. But this course actually is 3 courses together, 3 days of training together. Okay. Now, this level here is 4 courses, and this one here is 3 courses. The total number of days to earn the master level of the certified software tester professional is 10 courses, as you can see. This is 3 courses together, lumped into one. And then actually this is the beginning. And this is almost the backbone of all our courses. This is called Best Practices in Software Test Planning and Design. Again, one more time, those courses are not labeled as prep courses. You will not see focus on the exam in these courses. But most importantly, you will see techniques and the methods. Now, again, I know this is a sales pitch that I'm giving you here. I'm teaching a number of those courses myself. Let me tell you this, even the very first course here, the exam is an open book exam. You will not see multiple choice exams here. This is an open book exam. You know why it's an open book? Because in the exam, you actually get a real problem, like a real requirement. And you're asked to design scenarios, you're asked to design test cases, you're asked to design a lot of things. All right? And that's what you learn in the course. By the time you finish, you know how to do specific things. All right? I don't think it is much for me to say on these. Of course, as I said here, this is the highest level of certification, the Certified Software Quality Manager, total of 10 courses. Now, if you look carefully here, you'll find that roughly each course is about $325. $325. So 3 courses here, $975 and so on. All right. Recertification. All kind of certifications need to be recertified. Not only from IST, everything else. Okay, you have to be recertified because you cannot get a certification today and sit on it for 5-10 years. So IST recertifies certifications every 3 years. So you still have to take a number of what we call educational units, and we call them units because they don't have to be courses. They might be courses, they might not. So attending conferences count, working and doing certain activities. You can look at the requirement, the recertification requirements on our website for each specific certification. Because if you've done any other professional activities, those count as units as well. Now, the good news is this: within IIST, if you achieve one certification and you started taking and you want to recertify it, the courses you take to recertify one certification could be used to satisfy the requirements of a higher level certification, because it's all about continuous improvement and professional development. So you achieve one level here, you achieve that, for example, this one here, and in 3 years, you know it's going to be expired. So what you do here, you plan to take those 4 courses to achieve the certification, and at the same time, you're renewing this. Okay? Or if you don't care to continue to do the next level, you might go and do an Agile certification here. So you take these 3 courses to achieve the Agile certifications, but the same 3 courses will be used to renew the certification. Or you can do Certified Software Test Lead, 4 courses here to achieve the certification, at the same time recertifying any previous certification that required 3 days. The number of units that are needed to recertify is the same number that you used to achieve the certification itself. Okay, so to recertify this one, you need 3 units. So you can take those 3 units here, or 3 courses, to recertify this, but also achieve this at the same time. That's really what's meant here. All right. Final word of wisdom: don't just get certified, but most importantly, get the training you need to succeed in your job. Skills are the key. All right. I don't see other questions. Hope to see you in other webinars, and hopefully I was as objective as you wanted me to be. Hopefully I wasn't too much self-promoting. Hope to see you in our next webinar on March 19 on integrating exploratory testing into a discipline test process. You can sign up for this webinar on our website. Again, thank you all for being with me today.